Hi, Express Show. Nyenda kutangira umushow y'abamanyi. Show y'abanyabwenge. Show ekubasa kutambuza uri kugenda mu misho utakureba nyuma kandi show ekubasa kutyaza ubwongo niyo ukaba umushija nyishija kandi niwe okaba umugezi munonga. Aho kurebera hona Sky Express Show nyenda kutangira umuhereza nkabutosha ndi Easydee Omwishikatwa karangi gambirine wenyini omwana wabakama obusinge bwa murema karema wensi yona mwen kanyesije muri kurunji kandi kanyesije ngo muinamani washashati enshonga mu Niger na yashara deal ninjigama Niger konkoro jungu tujomanka Niger na managamba Niger omwena basabuta mfuna konka mwenu nayo yahindura meresyo yabasha kushara deal kwenda kubinga Amerika mu ihanga ryayo kandi kakwatana sana Russia akavuyo kabayaka inje kona Amerika ene ichwachwana Congo nayo batire bomu batira rockets abantu munana ba UN peacekeeping mission babasa kuba bahutazwa Congo ya gasimba na Rwanda yajatumwe tware mpora mutatomera Haiti uvuyo nwachengera kubayo enyuma azo kugambira ngo bahiga Cherige Jimmy hato uvuyo no yongera abantu batanga kufa kwebe nabagambira mu amuremera ho na leta cyita abantu munsi yona na leta cyita abantu muri Haiti mwena abantu nabo baraga ku rugenda kuri meya ijo bari andishesha Russia ne celebrating imyaka 10 kuiha etwara Crimea kujibaru Ukraine iya hambire 2014 mwene yani imyaka 10 celebration zanazo nazo kwita nebigambiro nibiya Pakistan nyanta zana bwanyuma yabahekera yaba tahika batarban kuija bakatera bodaga military post bakatera bakita Kano na captain na mwene n'abantu abandi batano Pakistan yagarire umurro mwen n'abatarban bagaro umurro hati Pakistan na yagare umurro ebyashona kushona nkebya Iraq byatandika bakutera abashira baba jaisha rudum kare mwen Rafa Israel yargairi joba yareta katambi okwebena rumbirwa rwa Russia n'obujuruzi bwona kugira ngo ihona misensi yona ebe inemenwa negendera ebyona mu Sky Express Show na Easydee Omwishikatwa tukugenda mu misho. Express Show nyenda kutangira umugenzi wanje yabasa kuba natubwita haga majingo kandi yabasa kubaranitwe mpaka no kutambura no gutosho ngakugira nti Sky Express ntukumanyisa kandi tukucengesa mwenu ncyache cyo kwegesa okumanyisa no kucengesa kandi nkabutosha no buri umunyabwengi abo kuba okumanya niyo ntandikiro yo bwengi mwenu Niger nijeje yo kureba obutware bwenyuma mpaka na president ayo Muhammad Bazoum ubu yabayiroho bakabine military cooperation agreement ningashi endagano yo kunywanisa amahe yo kwatanisa amahe mu Niger na America Niger niba selecting ngire kwamaze kusayininga endagano ejo yo kwatanisa mwe umbye kinyamahe no kurwanisa abahekera no manya Niger nayo yo mu Sahel region netwarama nekwata amanga agarama utania kusharania Mauritania akiyanja okijokata homunda Mali Niger crossinga hansariyo Chad ariyo Burkina Faso Senegal crossinga mpaka Nigeria crossinga genda kimwe no mu Sudan ejeno Sahel region ekwijete mwene Sahel region etwene teganisbwa abahekera bingi abeberisize karungu omundomo abayikira ba ISIS na n'aba Al-Qaeda batura baryo mu ndomo niberisa karungu mbona Amerika ki yakozere yijara mu mahanga gona yagumana enywana sayo konka yareba Niger kugira ngo eri hagati nebasa kutekaho base y'Ekinyamahe base y'Ekinyamahe omu Niger bagitekayo kwa magiteka makuba niyo large base mu Sahel region yona Amerika yebe ine base yo countelinga aba Al-Qaeda na n'aba Israel abahekera aba banarukarara mbwen niho abirari na large drone base military base mu Africa mu Niger mbwen okwa mushansha kwa hwire kubizire bahamba rutaro kubizire bahamba government biyaho Mahmoud Mamad Bazoum military junta yija ya refreshinga enkora yayo na namahega Amerika ya yesiza hata na yenda kura taraburomborombo bwa Mali na Burkina Faso agamahanga gona gabegara mu cyamba government mbwen basharorkwe basharadiru bajango bakwataganise na Russia bajango bakwataganise na Russia biye enkora ya Amerika abojango Amerika einenkwe Amerika nekura binyuma Amerika nende ko exploiting Amerika teka kufau kandi Putin kuri Niger ati nyoni mba hebi rwanso nimba haki mwene mwenye kwateho bakwenda kunafia Amerika mwene Niger ngu wike hwire enyonyi ya Amerika kurga besa webene netorora na Niger yona erikwetora bakwebuza wiki yone enyonyi ya Amerika netuketane koraki mwene last weekend ejo weekend Amerika sindikire abantu bayo bija bagambe na government ya junta Amerika ya junta ya Niger barebe enkwatagana n'enshobe zirinkahi ahabwenki Niger ebinjire ahabwenki Niger negamba ngo tekenda mahega government ga Amerika mu ihanga ryayo kana haba the largest base ya drone na nazindi zo kwantaringa ababa ku banarukarara ko embaganira Amerika ati Niger ati njamwayebwa tuinendagano ya military cooperation agreement ito signing agenda gane jo military cooperation enkwata na sayabu nyamahe mwentu mukosa kugiseza makuba ne running ekira up and running kandi ekindi ntwenda kubarabura imwakigeza mukagira ngo hati mwakwataganisha na Russia yiza teka base umuri Niger azakira barije mwakukireba tutkubakanga kanga tukora ki atukonkebirije ko babo mwako bireba ngwatu mwamanya ebimwagamba ndibimara mukwata umuhanda mugaruke muri Amerika mugambere president na government yanyu ngo Niger nihanga eri independent kandi rya Africa tiri ya Amerika Niger nihanga tarakora izingire taragira hansi yo butegeke bwa Amerika Niger nihanga kwesharaho tware ofugambirho ngo president Mamad Bazoum kutwamuhireho hati ntuje no mu chaptensya Niger obukurembeza to buruhisha heje butegeke burho no kurondo mukago okuranga no good benefiting itwe gutari go kuba exploited mwene hati nito Africa twerize America tumwatse bakawera amisho twerize mugende aganirwa makuru.
Niger is located at the heart of the Sahel region, an area where terror groups like the ISIS, the Al-Qaeda are rapidly expanding. In the pretext of fighting terror, last week a high-level delegation of US officials traveled to Niger to meet with the members of the military junta. According to Pentagon's Deputy Press Secretary, the US officials had a lengthy and direct discussions with the junta officials there. The discussions were also in part spurred by concerns over Niger's potential ties with Russia and Iran. It remains unclear what prompted the junta's decision to suspend military ties with America. But following the meeting between the American officials and the junta members, the junta spokesperson said US flights over Niger's territory in recent weeks were illegal.
Depuis quelques semaines, le gouvernement nigérien a
For several weeks, the Nigerian government has noted illegal activities involving flights over its territory by American aircraft, which are likely to raise questions about the sincerity of their partnership and the relevance of maintaining the military cooperation agreement imposed by a note verbale. In view of all of the above, the government of Niger, taking into account the aspirations and interests of its people, decides with all responsibility to denounce with immediate effect the agreement of relating to the status of United States military personnel and civilian employees of the United States Department of Defense in the territories of the Republic of Niger.
Département américain de la défense sur les territoires de la République du Niger.
Meanwhile, a local activist who helps Niger's military rulers with their communications criticized U.S. efforts to force the junta to pick between strategic partners. The military junta has largely been in control in Niger since July.
Express show nyenda kutangira mugenzi wanje yabasa kubana twigita haga magingo kuba kuba babocererirwe haramwe byo kucererwa manya ori naza kurata tekanya ntandike bwa yatwa katandikire shamshanje net ntandikira makuru nganga tandikiraho mwene mugumo shambye oije mwene nyimwe bazyo kosha nyamazyo mu weekend M23 agency ya rumba base ya peacekeeping mission base ya mahega UN keeping eastern Sake town ya Sake ba air striking rockets za tera kizitire za injaringa mwini zateka ubuhuta abajasi munana amahemu nana gabasa kubana gahutazibwa base ya UN peacekeeping mission when government ya Congo DRC eti M23 taine bushobozi bwo kubasa kutera boko sinyunyi strikinga M23 as far as our intelligence is concerned bakiri embutanka kurwanisa tanka kurwanisa bikompara ibiyombo bya rockets bayibega kurwa kutera za bomu kutere mundu konka babetaka tancha air strikes tubine bushobozi obwe akuba tubine nyonyezo mwena batereje tutkore basa kureba hando hona Rwanda mwatukabya ngo Rwanda ekimwakora mwakireba Rwanda wenchi numweta bo muntarezi intaruka zabeze nkende abatine mukira muronda yoki mwenje banche manisa ngo wani wagiro mazina genkende njanche manisa ngo niyo ino mukira mweni uri yo munkende mweni ntandu jango hatereka tware ebinyamisho by'emikira yekutembe miti enkende enjeya na nebinyamisho bindi nibigenderamu mwa twereka ngo hati nimwe muri yo mukikani cyo cyumwe Rwanda timwe tware bantu mwe buraka mukona ko kuba mu Kongo n'u Rwanda uyu mwana mugamba M23 bo bagizire ngo ndwagumiza muntu Rwanda mpaka ahoja ngo protectinga minority and protecting the minority group y'abatutsi kugira ngo abo kuturwanisa bingi bona bijwiramo abahutu bijwire maheganyu na mikago ya Congo mwene totalement defending mpaka twakutera abajunga mpaka bagarikiro wabo tukasigara na mahega Congo yonka buri heryo ryo mukagaro mukoreta ndama turukoroho bushaho umungeri yitu turi kuturatambure ibintu bibarga Congo.
Congolese authorities say the 8 UN peacekeepers were injured by rockets fired at their base in the eastern town of Sake. One of the peacekeepers was seriously wounded in the attack. He was evacuated from the conflict zone and is receiving treatment at a health facility. The injured peacekeepers were part of an operation known as Springbok that was launched last year to protect civilians in the conflict-torn region. The DRC army spokesperson has blamed Rwandan soldiers who are reportedly fighting alongside the M23 rebels for carrying out the attack, but Rwanda has denied the allegation. The UN Secretary General and the head of the peacekeeping mission in the DRC have condemned the attack, saying that it could constitute a war crime under international law. Fighting between Congolese forces and the M23 rebels broke out over the weekend after a brief lull. The M23 rebels say they are fighting to protect their Tutsi community in eastern DRC from rival militia groups like the FDLR, composed of ethnic Hutus. The fighting has forced tens of thousands of civilians to flee their homes and seek refuge in the eastern city of Goma since the start of this year. The international community has called for a ceasefire and a peaceful resolution to the conflict, but the rebels and the DRC government army have continued fighting.
Sky Express Show agonogo makuru aga Congo M23 chine chumbajiza ihanga lya Congo liteza umutwe mpaka mwena hata watankano kutera batyo konka Rwandeje ebintu bya Rwanda na Congo nayo bigenze hari tutukurota Kagame asitamira ameza bakatensa na Tshisekedi konkana bwena yamara kusitamana wa meza Rwanda ni mwaka Kagame naza kumana ihakana takasa kwicheza ngo Rwanda a part of it nubu yakuboriwe iwe yuno andebiwe nubu yakubariwe twasitama ameza buri jonto ninkubera ngo nontera twasitama ameza tuze kutesa ukwichiriza ngo meni ngo kimeni kutera neki tokabasa kukigama no kumano ihakana konkojero uti maybe hata na nyompo mukono twase kurwana kandi nabwe twakasa kwichiriza kugira ngo rwa mahero Rwanda sinike nkamba he nawe cyakabo ine bitaza kubaho kandi hinintaro istaza kubana zishoborokerwa ninga ziniziramurwa ukosa entesaganya pana intare nyinja hate wirobo ezo kutera umuntu mpaka kuhurira bubi mutera mpaka kakahura akachenje akabona kwikiriza Haiti banyuma ya police kushoza ekigambo cyayo eronde jimesharizi nga sababu Q ayina achombagiza oremba wa Patio Prince mwenu kugira ngo muhije hatkahurire byo but face barumbire ecweka umukibuga ngasho mu Rembo Patio Prince batera abantu amwe bakaferamu bafire nabandi batwara mu irwaro hati Haiti ekibene bebuza ni kimwe Babakyu okija nogira ngo ekikutegandisa ni Prime Minister Henry Elio hat Henry Elio kia azire ngo arzayininje no yendake atinyoti nkikiriza kugira ngo Faransa America na Caribbean bloc eje Karkam babase kuba no babasa kutekaho transition council iyo kurona the next prime minister or the interim prime minister ito abantu ba Haiti nito turaisha rem kugira ngo ntwe prime minister kandi ntwe nakumuro no munjereje imo kugira ngo makuteka ho rwanjurunju eje America kugira neza kwiza makutahira ati mukigeze ati nkabajya mwakigeza mpaka kutandika genocide umara Haiti mwena hata yingambira but face barumbira kantu batakwita abantu tima yeje nayo yaba strategy ya Babakyu kugira ngo achombagize bari meanwhile na America na yene jirango bakwate international police eronda mahe gabase kuza kurwana kuza kuma businje umuyihangari ya Haiti kandi weruto amahero 10 yagobe basayiningire pakete basayiningire na Henry Rio kugira ngo basagareta gakume aba police 10 kuma businje muri Haiti wajizire ngo not until government bamara kuteka government bakaronda umuntu interim prime minister bakateka government nuba base kureta police ejo konkobwa hata kavya kariyo wagize ngo takubasa kureta police ye abantu kuza kufera omara Haiti umurye ibintu ebyo we naza direta government ya Haiti yamara kuza in press bitari nkata katabanga kariyo agargo makuru.
A bloody scene in the outskirts of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. In the early hours of Monday, gangs reportedly attacked 2 upscale neighborhoods, leaving nearly a dozen dead. It's the latest in a spiraling wave of gang-related violence gripping the country. Despite the announcement, gang violence has not abated, sparking new concerns from international observers over a crisis that's already grown out of control.
It is not hyperbole to say that this is one of the most dire humanitarian situations in the world.
In neighboring Dominican Republic, security forces were deployed on Monday to the Haitian border. Locals there say the humanitarian crisis is also having a dramatic impact on commerce.
Here, the situation is difficult. Not many Haitians come due to the problem in Haiti. They come twice per week, and 5 days that they don't come because the situation in Haiti is not easy.
Leaders from other Caribbean nations are holding talks to resolve the crisis, including aiding with the establishment of a transitional presidential council. A multinational police force to restore order in Haiti, backed by the United Nations and led by Kenya, has reportedly been delayed. Kenyan officials saying the deployment of such a force will happen only once the transitional council has been created.
Sky Express Show ndakutangiriye mugenzi wanje nibiye bya Haiti time birahwere na barbecue either mbakwija kumukombera kugira ngo bamuhemu babase kumunywa kumunywa ikigambo cyakikoswa basiniya munonga mwene babase kumukwata base kumugwera bamukwate mpora kureba eyabase kuba Pakistan rwa mukaga nisho ngamenaza gambe rwa mukaga abayicha babatayike Taliban abomu ba Afghanistan bakarumba batera Pakistan a border military post basa kuita abantu mushanju batwarana mu kano na captain charwa munonga ba Pakistan nensi yaman nensi erikutinwa ombyukurwanisibwa nensi erikutinwa omani gamahe omani gokurwana omani gokukoraki ojuke Pakistan nekwate cyamwenda amupower index rating yo mwaka ogo nekwate cyamwenda omunsi yona ihanga erikukiza yo kurwana ihanga erikukiza yo kurwa bityo nekwate cyamwenda akwa mucyamunana omucyamunana harumutaki den nekurature cyamwenda itari konka yo eriyo mucyamwenda mwen Pakistan ni hangar takuzanazana ni hangar kwego kitinisa hata bahicha batari karbanko bamaze kuterejo yagarura murro omu Afghanistan yatera border buri intelligence yebene gikora ejigama ngo haro base y'abatarban ejitera base y'abatarban ejitera mwetire posts nkitano za tarban ya sakwane batera abone bafa bamwe bafutungo buta nkare abatarban twakwayo ngo akechikura barumba nabo bagarura murro baka barumba military post ya Pakistan ati Pakistan hazambukiraho itkonkankire buka abantu batuzana zanasa yagenda yatera base zayo umundo mu Afghanistan kamaze kubatera akura abatarban yakwate simu yatera kakamanda Pakistan akwedinga mission age yamugira hate kintu cy'umwakora kutera mu itakari ya Afghanistan mutina rusa echo ncyenda ebragiro byensi yona atkande cyo basa kutekaho umushango gwa war crimes omukoti yensi yona mwena hati mwetwerinde mukozise birwaniso bihango kandi birwaniso by'amana munonga umuyangari ya Afghanistan mutina rusa rwa government ya Afghanistan naho bambuza ngo ati no gamba nkoha iyo ko bana rukarara niyo ko shengere bushengera yeko notekano kijenya abantu kanoteganisa government iyo no gambira side ya government nkoha ngo kandi twachion twija imu mukachikwire mwaka chikuru atito tukarumba a border twatera military post ya border akujango nayo neba nibo kuteganisa batera kuno mundo mu Afghanistan bita abantu bitu kandi tina rutaro nabo nkonka wagumiza mwenjereje Pakistan itinto kubatera ntu banozya mpaka yimura tumanyengo no tur Pakistan twakasa tuzana zaniraho agango makuru.
The neighboring countries have traded blame over who is responsible for a recent spate of militant attacks in Pakistan. Pakistan says the attacks were launched from Afghan soil. Afghanistan's ruling Taliban, however, deny Islamabad's claims. A spokesperson for the Taliban administration said that the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan does not allow anyone to compromise security by using Afghan soil. Zabiullah Mujahid added that the Pakistani strikes killed 5 women and 3 children in the eastern border provinces of Khost and Paktika. In a statement, the Pakistani Foreign Office cited intelligence-based anti-terrorist operations in the border regions inside Afghanistan. However, it did not specify what kind of operations they were, but said they targeted members of the Hafiz Gulf Bahadur group after an attack on a military post in Pakistan on Saturday. In a different statement, the Taliban Defense Ministry said its security forces had targeted Pakistani troops at the border in response to the airstrikes. Reports indicate fatalities resulting from Taliban's retaliation. The Taliban Foreign Office said it had called in Pakistan's head of a mission to condemn the attacks. In a statement provided to the state television, the Pakistani military said a recent wave of terrorism has the full support and assistance of Afghanistan. It did not mention any airstrikes, but said that Saturday's attack was carried out by militants who had safe haven in Afghanistan. Pakistani officials have said that such attacks have risen in recent months, many of them claimed by the Pakistani Taliban and launched from Afghan soil.
Express show nyina kutangire mugenzi wanje umugeze mutahi wanje ayo nareba ngakugira nti Sky Express niberi abagezi bonka takubayo mudoma ako mudoma n'omuntu atakwenda kumanya n'omuntu atenda kwega n'omuntu atenda kumanya bikugenda mu misho muno mudoma we natura omuyihanga ngokurre bwashesha bwira konko munyabwenje niyo kugeza okajotereka ndebe bya fomunsi hafayo ki omongo hate ko hariye ki okuhariye ki mwen ogumoye diroti ndiyo munyabwenje we kwato muri diroti ndiyo munyabwenje hati amo Israel bwanyuma yo kuba condemned yo kurumba irwaro ya Al-Shifa omuto mu rurembo rwa Rafa ensiyona rigire yaje kombera no rombo tirwaro okita abantu manya biki okakwata abantu abandi okabatwara biki eshekere yasheka yagireti itwe burukuza gukora ene mission ntuba twine enough concrete evidence kugira ngo it's worth invasion, it's worth raid mwenu kugira ngo obukakafu kwa twine no bano bumara kugira ngo hati murumbe mwenu. By the way, it operation zito ntuzikora ntuzo recordinga ntwa twine kwa kamera bito tu recordinga hatu zeka tuje twa record twa recording murebe ekitusangira mu irwaro ya Al-Shifa buri kutwarombe irwaro ya Arnasa mwatukombera mangu ito ntukora kintu tukora ki konka hati nyenda mu kirebe kandi twenda tukuboreke ebitushangire umwirwaro ya Al-Shifa. Al-Shifa ekimuta kumanya kutomaze kutera Arnasa bafuruka umwirwaro ya Arnasa kutomaze kurura idinga twakwata bamwe twamara kureba na offices na nebijwaro y'amahebiki bamangu tobamanya aho bafurukaho bayongerayo kandi to mission yitu niyo kumara aho bahekera bona na bases zabo mwenu kuba herezi tano yabo bwanyuma yo kuzura tano agenda yacitwa kwasire ibe bine communication base tomana nayo kugiyeho hati bakirukanga bayishireka handi aharumu na Al-Shifa irwarere ngo numubiha ngo kutugenzera kugenda office ya director akurirwa ya Al-Shifa twatahamu twashanga za safe ezo ziri mu sente ezo zahandikira ho mu ruharabu konko mu rujungu ekikumanyisa ningasho muri nyankore ekikumanyisa ngo nekirabo ekikorwa mu Bahamas na bajihadisi saba kurwanira obusiramu mbugudu waka webare munonga mwebare kuturwanira sente zo envelope zenzo zahandikiye ikigambo ekyo ngukanda jindi controller Peter Sokonzerize kakatandi kako damukatandike nkande kindi ntwenda murebe omwirwa Rome ekitusangiremu noza kureba aha mwabirebe biri yawa screen yanyu eze mundu za pisto ebijwaro byamahe no mbireba harimo emisyo enkito z'amahe ebendera z'abahekera Hamasi nze bendera za Pakistan wakireba abo nawe mbararamu wareba ibintu ebyo hati mabuza umwirwaro bembekora muki kandi ko bibe biryaho nuko bibe planning bityo nkire bukamukama wabyo abe yakiteka nka usingizi abe yamara ko kujegeraho kake mbone babuza ngo ebintu bembekora cyo mwirwaro Rome mwana mujya mutano mbahekera no Dr. Oha akwa ineza pistols zona akwa ine mundu aine kito zamahe aine ki kwaje kuza kusanga mu office ya director akurirwa ya Arshifa bashangara mu muhanda kurabamu kandi gwine ebishenge bibiro kwenyuma ebishenge bibiri office z'aba Hamas bembasanga basanyira mu sente nyamwingi ezibemba kosa kukabiro mu rutaro bashanga mu birwanso basanga mu za grenade bashanga mu ki byingi munonga mwene nkajya bakarumba barumba yenkekiro bakwata bamwe abakwasire bakora ki mwene aka video bakashowhize bakoreka kugira ngo international community ejerine blaming Israel aho kurumba irwaro ngujya ngo barumba civilians abantu babutosha ngo tubantu babutosha bonka betabwire muna n'abahekera baba Hamas yashoza aka video nka evidence ningasi objures mbibi byona byerebere ezo ne motoka njya controla na kweza ka video reko bemba rumba bakwe recordinga kandi bakurumba ebindi byona yibiri bawe ka video kwasoke bakarabe tanka nizezo bembora mpora tanka za Israel IDF Israel Defense Forces ezo kozisa omucommunicatinga omukurumba na omukureba communicating hateriyo ne no bahanda barimo bahekera ebemba tahiza mwe basazirimo kugira ngo hati barumbe mukono na mukono babase kugira ngo bataho mwirwaro erimo kureba ahawo icyo n'icyo bwa cya Rafa mukuru wo mwikano gucyumukaho abo nabahekera ko amaze kwecengera ebemba teka za bomu abo mukore akasa ko ikari yawo nkatambura abo nabahekera abo no bareba abahekera bari mu black beba manyine kumangwa tabarumba no mucuro buriye bwecuro bemba ejibomu njya baji baturo mu mishoge motokaho abahekera bemba tambuka za bomu bemba kora kikano munda premises zirwaro bamaze kureba bahekera bamaze kureba mahega Israel gama kutahamu nonyaho ngo muhekera kasako yikarako nabahekera nibo barha bahekeraho abahekera ababa Hamas barhaho mbabo birukanga hataho IDF ebenegezo kurumba kureba irwarere kureba ko yarokore bikabasa kugenda tambuza muko baraga waliwo office ya commander weri tambuza muko aho nabahekera abo n'amahega IDF Israel Defense Forces bakurwana bakawuntaringa na bahekera ba Hamas bari mu nda ejino compound eriyemo mu backyard yo nyuma compound beri yirwa Rostil nayo ko nyuma ninyano mujirebo omuyika gukucyumuka aba Hamas bayimbagarra yo muyika bagare ba bomba batambuka nibosya nibyebyo tambuza muko ka video yako ka praying tikabera static nyo ina nyenda kubore ko mishwaho office ya kamanda heri mbore kebere mu office ya kamanda you forward it anyway eyo katuveyo Sky Express Show nyina kutangirira yo mugenzo wanje mbwenu omukremea Crimea nechueka ekibahambire ari Ukraine Russia eri kuhambara Ukraine omwaka gwa 2014 bukaburi omukwa kashatu barangirra ngo officially echweka echa Crimea cyaza hansi y'obutegetsi bwa Russia. Crimea kwa maze jurumba hati mwenu omu Russia babene ba celebratinga mwenu babene bajaguja obwire bamara emyaka 10 bamazire kwegitaho Crimea ejo. Putin abaroho yayeta ababira yesimbere nabo mu karuru abantu bashatu atumwije atkana mwesimbara president atincebekani mu murimo wa president atumwije tubanze ku celebratinga hamwe atakwihanganya na regitu tarumu ruwango kugira ngo nyesimbireho tukikumanyisa ngo tube abarabe apana tukaba ba enemies deka twataganise tuba banywani twase kutambuza Russia misho yaba leta mwene kabena gamba Putin ati kutomaze kuhamba Crimea twagira ngo banza yisharo yanenda garka ingata kwenda garkayo atayo kuba karama abantu bitu baba Russia bazo mu referendum batera referendum akaruka referendum kuchwa mu kugira ngo bagumare Ukraine ninga bagumize na Russia yabahamba hatumwe n'abantu bakesharaho bajya ngwitwe netugenda kuzankaya mu Russia baba officially mu Russia babakira kandi konko bwa hati no ba celebratinga abaturage muri Crimea bayeno barazarumwe mbagira ngo nabone bucyakubire kiti ngo bakaba annexinga bakabegitaho konka abaturage aba Crimea nibasosorwa mu government amshara ya government bomba funa 20% to 30% lower than the usual one. Mbweni yarinka omushomesa wa government ari kushomesa na tungo mshara kwa government yaba ryo mu Russia former Russia eri mpango yanafuna emitwaro 80 yanafuna milioni 1 yaba na shomesa kuri mu Russia eri mpango yanafuna milioni 1 kuno muri Crimea omushomesa waho na ya mshara kwa government gwa Russia nanafuna emitwaro 8 ningari kufuna nshanju twakingana samushara mwene kugira ngo bakabateka haka sososo bagumamba basosora kanata nabo tubashemerirwe bamba jangwe bintebyo tibyama bintebyo tubikosa kubakora mpaka mwene baje Red Square ba celebratinga bagira ngo hati deka inshonga zantu zuhuritize muzitugambere turenga government ukutora yengere kuba kugira ngo twabashemeza mwafiringa fure part of Russia okonoko kujaguza.
Crimea is ours. This popular Russian slogan appeared 10 years ago when Vladimir Putin announced the peninsula was returning to, quote, its native harbor. Russians are certain that residents of Crimea made their choice at a Kremlin-backed referendum in 2014.
It was reunification with Russia, definitely, and important point from historical perspective. Well, in Russia we love history, of course, so Russia been fighting for Crimea with Turkey during this historical times for 300 years, so it means it's our historical right.
The construction of the Kerch Bridge, which connected the peninsula with mainland Russia, was a physical representation of the renewed ties. On the 10th anniversary of the reunification, a huge concert took place in Red Square. Vladimir Putin appeared at the event, accompanied by his three rivals at the presidential elections. After unleashing an armed conflict in 2022, Russia is fighting for more Ukrainian territory.
As for Novorossiya, as for Donbass, people living there also declared their desire to return to their family in the days of the Russian spring. Their journey home turned out to be much more difficult and tragic. But still we did it, and this is also a big event in the history of our state.
10 years on, and Crimea hasn't fully integrated into Russia, not least because of the Western sanctions. The independent sources report the salaries of Crimean residents are 20 to 30% less than the national average in Russia.
Nakutangira dakika 50 amasomo gayitu gigwire tera otense kandi tera ubuze tubase kugenda mu misho nasagaza budakika buke kubaninga Sky TV hata America yo nitumari yayo America nyine nyenda kugeti ensi yituma ekwenda ngo yakuzanireho ekose ebyayo kandi ebase kuba itakwenda kwiyamba munonga akasente kiyakwa ebasa kazana basa kanyiganyiga kandi kahenda kakorire busha ahabwe natazaize ko kuteriraho ekwa sente jango zitecha kandi nene nda controllinga ihanga kugira ngo bene yagumane kusharaho America nensi yenze munonga yone nenda ebeni yakusharaho imwe ihanga mba mwine policies zanyu numba mwine biya nkamama kwikiriza obuyambe bwa America ekamara kwasaje ko muri enshonga zimwe na nezindi yo America neija ejenshonga tatakugenda ejenshonga tukwenda mu gishare mu muti ejenshonga twenda mukore muti aharya ha mushara mu muti kandi wawize ku falling out nayo uka falling out na America ne korabaka ko dyokona ekekora kureba ngo yihaho government ejo yataho ndijo kugeza Pakistan president wayo Imran Khan Prime Minister Imran Khan wa arona tejeka we akatana na naba America omunshonga ezo kubumura jira yaje America tumuza kunda jira kiya yanjire ubwambega biza bashanga omwe omba CIA ba America aine cyandiko pages nshanzo na mukaga kirimu plan yo kuyaho Imran Khan aba Prime Minister wa Pakistan kizre akijombo esherecho mu Pakistan yasitamana no mukungo omwe abari mu government abarijiro ko muri ya Morokwe. Yes, hello.
Nazina gani nene kanko sisira ni mjachino.
Yeso mnyachino nogamba kisebo.
Atuna ni mbuza.
Yes.
BRICS jina nasona herpa.
Wabuza BRICS?
Kale TV jidnufi.
Tunabura kibuzo cyawe. Yabuza BRICS na NASA, BRICS na NATO. Tunachenga kibuzo cyawe kandi tunachura kurungi. Konga ko wabuza BRICS.
Hello sebo.
Yes, hello.
Hello sebo.
Nkurira mukurumba kwetu waterera ngai.
Mwali mu radio kubaona apachera ngono za region.
Yes sebo.
Webale kutuwereza mwana wa bakama.
Webale kuraba. Webale kwera mugezi.
Yakati mbuza. Mbuza sebo. Aba usi batusewe naku zino bali kuki atene naku zino munana mwenda ne 10 ogwokuna ebigenda okubeerawo naffe bitukwatako banedda.
Kale sebo
eyanziza sebo nomwali mu miraji okusinza no apakira ngono za region.
Okay. Mwalimu Abbas webale munyo noze dakika ziweddeyo essimu emuyoka emara okay eyaragaho munyankahi wanobuuza kibuzo kya BRICS orokubuuza na NATO tinakucenga mwene kibuzo kyawe kyo kyonyine tinakihurra konka kuba wabuuza BRICS n'omukago ogw'amahanga ageterine agokwenda kuyaho Western Alliance n'amahanga agokwenda kwegitira hamwe gakatunguko mbya sente gakatunguka mu by'obutegeki gakatunguko mbyo kurwana kugira ngo babasa kudefeatinga NATO ningashi America supremacy mwene BRICS no mukago BRICS kabanza n'amahanga agomahanga buri hanga ni represented by later BRICS being Brazil nagandi Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa. So BRICS kakatangagari y'amahanga mache giza expanding ati ni magari ngo mahanga nka ngenda kwirira 30 nago nkamahanga NATO BRICS no mukago ogwa hati gukwenda kuija gukora sente zimwe nkana bagambira no kwenda kuija gukora currency kugira ngo America reka kudominatinga mukumanyikwa amahanga go BRICS tuba kubasa kujya kutangira amahanga gandi kutahamu BRICS nasa kwikiza amahanga ga Africa gona nko wahurira South Africa Nigeria nayo buriya kayatandika kugira ngo nenda kwa kuzo mu BRICS kwegito mu BRICS mwenago n'amahanga harimo Russia, China, harimo Iran, harimo South Africa n'amahanga gandi kandi mingi n'amahanga ga Africa mingi omu Asia gange gita mu BRICS kugira ngo basa gukora block emwe yakubasa kuba equivalent or greater than the supremacy of America. Mwena America bajina fize chumwe itagira bugambiro yaza jaga nguni yone shungisa NATO abawe bine BRICS. Mwalimu Abbas abuziza ku bahuzi batusewa abahuzi omuri nabahekera abakushanga muri Yemen abahuzi bo bakagita mu rutaromu rwa Israel na Gaza bajango bacumbagize ibyamaguzi na namato ngo kuraba mu Red Sea kurga kuri mu Gulf of Oman na Indian Ocean kuraba mu Red Sea crossinga kugira ngo zo Suez Canal kutema mpaka mu Mediterranean Sea to kwenda buri meri yone byamashobozi kebe ya America kebe ya Britain kugira ngo eshare ekoro bushobozi ninga delivery ngo muri Israel ninga kuraba mu Suez Canal hatubo mu Red Sea bakategera Bab el-Mandeb Strait Babel Mandeb Strait no gomu gutuguruho hina de Djibouti akanya kacho mu Red Sea kari ibakora za ambush bakabasa kuba nuba tangirabo obwa hati Iran neche yongera kubahereza ebirwanso for example like within these days yesterday but one ne kosomyaro emyaro ya Bungereza itarura mpori Iran omuchama etwara emizinga etwara emunde man mpango etwara ebikurwandisa ekobeza abahuzi bar backed by Iran yeko batamaka sente ne kwata mu kirwandiso kugira ngo base kucumbagiza America bacumbagizena na Britain mwen obwata yingugambira bariyo batagatingire emeri yari yabaremere buriya punocho ya America mbenda kufitira emeri ya America punocho nachi barembaje planingira eshaheje okura America eshaha nazo zabayo monananga then mwalimu Abbas obuziza ku nakuzo mwezi mwenda 10 epo ebyo rugambo ebiriyo mbiba mu kugira ngo mpaka baho obwira kabiri ku marebero bishatu byona turiyo mwirima kutandika biro 8 mpaka bamwenda ngo mpaka baho eclipse habo bwira kabiri bo ku marebero bishatu byona mamani ensiyone zo mukuzikirira simangwense ne kujja kwawo ebyo nebigambo scientists nawo muri America bakiyayo ebyabo bajambo eclipse ninga shobira kabiri butwira nubaho ubwo hati nbako yongera ku marobire bukumara ibironka bishatu bushweke kusinzira muri America mbaye report ya America tubakagambira ngo mu Africa n'ensi yona tubakagambira nankahi konga kwemba gamba ngo biro bishatu ncanche mayisa ngo ensi ehe kwetorora kuza kushanga muri America naki biro bishatu nitondo twarebera ijo banaki mwini to turiyo turuho America batanje ku preparinga bamwe ahabwe ngambo ezikutambura za eclipse kugira ngo bagure byo kuryama bagure kitaro kutambura taro gukora ki bakwa bari yo muhirima mayazi garga hogona turareba amashanyarazi turarebe ki ndo kwa turi intoto darkness intoto dairema ngwensi yonejo wapi ishaza nsagayo nimpura pita nawe yamponinga nyowe namba nyanyu banje bona basakora Sky Express show ntugira ngo mugumene obusinge inde Easydee Omwishikatwa karange gambirine umwana wa kama obusinge bwa murema rurema karema mugumene obusinge